lucha Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! Lucha, lucha Palestina! Jamás será olvidada, la sangre derramada, jamás será olvidada, la sangre derramada, jamás será olvidada.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We thank you for gathering here this evening. We are all here, united in grief and anger, to honor the life of the martyr, Professor Refaat Alareer. In 2022, Dr. Refaat Alareer wrote in the anthology Light in Gaza. When I was approached to write for this book, the promise was that it will affect change and that policies, especially in the United States, will be improved. But honestly, will they? Does a single Palestinian life matter? Does it? Reader, as you peruse these chapters, what can or will you do, knowing that what you do can save lives and can change the course of history? Reader, will you make this matter? Gaza is not and should not be a priority only when Israel is shedding Palestinian blood en masse. Gaza, as the epitome of the Palestinian Nakba, is suffocating and being butchered right in front of our eyes and often live on television or on social media. It shall pass, I keep hoping. It shall pass, I keep saying. Sometimes I mean it. Sometimes I don't. And as Gaza keeps gasping for life, we struggle for it to pass. We have no choice but to fight back and to tell her stories for Palestine.
We gather here to mourn and remember the life of Dr. Refaat Alareer, a Palestinian writer, translator, poet, teacher, who was born in Gaza and killed in Gaza yesterday in a targeted assassination. Dr. Alareer taught all his students to insist on writing, killed by the Israeli occupation after someone had been martyred. In his painful absence, we are here to remind everyone that Dr. Alareer was killed by the Israeli occupation on December 7th while seeking shelter with his family in Gaza. His assassination is part of the occupation's campaign to destroy the cultural and intellectual fabric of Palestinian life. Dr. Alareer also lost many of his students before his martyrdom. His student, Jihad Abu Salim, wrote yesterday, "You are the light in Gaza." It is difficult for those of us who outlive him to live in the absence of this light. Today, we commune with his words and our grief to honor his living, his perseverance, his fierce action and spirit. To Dr. Refaat Alareer, we say, we are all the students of your teaching and we will continue to honor your life, to tell the stories of Gaza, and to fight for Palestine until liberation and victory. While the assassination carried forward by the Israeli occupation are often padded with silence, we refuse to let this happen any longer. The quiet with which we hold each other tonight in this vigil is loud.
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Hi, my name is Mona. Dr. Refaat Alareer was a poet. He was a writer before anything else, and we lost a giant in that regard. So I think it's appropriate for me to read a poem of his in this moment. So this poem is called I Am You. It's from 2012. Okay. The poem is called I Am You from 2012. 2 steps. 1, 2. Look in the mirror. The horror, the horror. The butt of your M16 on my cheekbone. The yellow patch it left. The bullet-shaped scar expanding like a swastika, snaking across my face. The heartache flowing out of my eyes, dripping out of my mouth, out of my nostrils, piercing my ears, flooding the place like it did to you 70 years ago or so. I am just you. I am your past, haunting your present and your future. I strive like you did, I fight like you did, I resist like you resisted, and for a moment, I take your tenacity as a model, were you not holding the barrel of the gun between my 2 bleeding eyes. 1, 2. The very same gun, the very same bullet that had killed your mom and killed your dad is being used against me by you. Mark this bullet and mark it in your gun. If you sniff it, it has your and my blood. It has my present and your past. It has my present, it has your future. That's why we are twins. Same life track, same weapon, same suffering. Same facial expressions drawn on the face of the killer. Same everything, except that in your case, the victim has evolved backward into a victimizer. I tell you, I am you, except that I am not the you of now. I do not hate you. I want to help you stop hating and killing me. I tell you, the noise of your machine gun renders you deaf. The smell of the powder beats that of my blood. The sparks disfigure my facial expressions. Would you stop shooting for a moment, would you? All you have to do is close your eyes. Seeing these days blinds our hearts. So close your eyes tightly that you can see in your mind's eye. Then look into the mirror. 1, 2. I am you. I am your past. And killing me, you kill you. Okay, and we're gonna have another poem read aloud. Okay, this is O Earth. O Earth, hug me and hold me tight, or devour me, to suffer no more. I love thee, so take me. Make me rich, make me dirt. Gone are the days of serenity. Guns are the words of humanity. I have no food but a thorn, no sport but a sigh. For a soldier needs to feel high. O earth, if in life I am to hurt, let my dirt in you give birth. O earth.
So we're all here together, and I know everyone's a little bit shy, but if any of you want to step up and read anything, the floor is open. Would you like to? You want to? Thank you.
When I stoop a poem for Mahmoud al-Sarsak. When I stoop, a poem for Mahmoud al-Sarsak. The walls of my prison whisper to me. They tell me stories of people who were here, of people who lived here. There was the weak, and there was the old, there was the child, there was the lady. They were here, but now they are there. In my prison, I talk to the walls, and they to me talk that one day I will walk. One day my jailer will stoop at my feet to unlock the chains. It does not matter why, but he will stoop. Inside my prison, I draw my future with minute details. On the other side of the wall, behind the bars, sits the jailer. As he turns back and looks me in the eye, he pours mountains of boredom and lets loose of a sigh. I look back and smile. He clears his throat, blinks once, then twice, and moves his lips. I walk away and give him my back. I smile again, winking at the wall. See, it tells me. I know. I reply and bend down and shake my chains. The look in his face, the fear in his eyes, both make my day. Inside my prison, I also stoop, but when I do, I stoop to conquer. Thank you.
This is If I Must Die from 2011. If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope, let it be a tale.
Hi everyone, this is And We Live On from 2012. And another day in Gaza, another day in Palestine, a day in prison, and we live on. Despite Israel's very much identified flying objects that we see more than our family and friends, and despite Israel's death sentences like lead cast upon the head as we sleep, like acid rain gnawing at our life, clinging to it like a flea to a kitten, and stuffed in our throats the moment we say, Amen. To the prayers of old women and men, despite Israel's birds of death hovering only 2 meters from our breath, from our dreams and prayers, blocking their ways to God. Despite that, we dream and pray, clinging to life even harder, every time a dear one's life is forcibly rooted up. We live, we live, we do.
To our friend in letters, Doreen Tatur. To do or not to do. I mutter a line, a verse or two, and I am in prison. I am in prison for writing poetry. I am in prison for muttering poetry, for daring to think, for trying to pull a Shakespeare. I am in prison. Words, 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 words. And I am in prison for words. What would Hamlet say? Chains to the sweet, cruel to be cruel, to die, no chance to dream. I am at the stake. I am being burnt for being here, for writing poetry. I am in prison. To those in prison, for those daring to think, for daring to write, for daring, for being, for breathing, sweets to the sweet. I am free. There is nothing bad about poetry, but Israel makes it so. So resist, my people. Resist them. Resist, my people. Resist them. Everything is rotten in Israel. It is rotten to the core. Its letters. The I is not an I. They do not see here. The S, snakes in my prison. Ra-e-yah. Look who is in prison now. Israel.
This is by my friend Ahmed Dremley, who is currently still alive in Gaza. The situation in Gaza has never been as bad. We are in darkness. Electricity has been cut. We have very little internet access. Telecommunications firms have been targeted, so mobile phones are failing us. Many buildings have been bombed without their inhabitants being given a warning. The Israeli defense minister has said, "We are fighting human animals." Israel is committing genocide against a silenced people. It has been extremely hard for me to work as a journalist. I have to find somewhere that has an internet connection so that I can send material to news outlets. We hear bombings and the sound of warplanes constantly, yet we have few sources of information other than the radio. Haya, my sister, has had to flee her home along with her husband and 2 children. They live in Al Ramal, a neighborhood of Gaza City. After receiving a threat, Haya rushed to my family's house about 1 kilometer away. They had nowhere else to stay. Her husband looked very pale as they entered the house. My mother and I went to make them coffee, trying to calm them down. Just then we saw the sky go red from the kitchen window. My mother got down on the floor. The bombs fell some distance away, but the experience was deeply unsettling. My hands were shaking as I carried the tray with the coffee. My father, actually most fathers in Gaza, believes that the middle of the house is the safest place to be. Now there were 20 of us gathered in the same part of the house. We'll all be killed, Haya thought aloud. We tried to calm her down and discuss such pressing issues as where to go if there is a bombing nearby. Who will carry the children? What should we do if we have to split into more than one group? When there is a bombardment, we try to convince children that there is a party going on. We try to dance with them, to smile as tears flow from our tired eyes. But these desperate measures are ineffective. There is no justice when childhoods are destroyed by airstrikes. Why do they hate and want to kill me? My 4-year-old nephew Kareem asked. If I hold my toys tightly in my hand, will they come to heaven with me when I die? We keep on telling stories in our house, stories that must be told.
Drenched by Refaat Alareer, 2022. On the shores of the Mediterranean, I saw humanity drenched in salt, face down, dead, eyes gouged, hands up to the sky, praying or trembling in fear. I could not tell. The sea, harsher than the heart of an Arab, dances, soaked with blood. Only the pebbles wept, only the pebbles. All the perfumes of Arabia will not grace the rot Israel breathes. Rest in peace.
Death 24/7 by Dr. Refaat Alareer, October 14th, 2023. Get up, you lazy ass. We've got work to do, much work to do. Nowhere in the world is death employed so creatively like in Gaza. Death believes in diversity. I whiz, I bang, and I bomb. I fall with rain, spread with air, and spring like water, glow with the first light of the day, and do not go until I make sure I have many a soul hitched to my tail. I come for kids in tens and scores, and when I finally rest, I beat my chest like this, like this, like this, and I won't go to work the other day. Death doth protest too much. With kicks and clubs I wake and go to work.